They're still very solid. This car's running about the same lap times. But here, back to Casey Kane, still trying to get around Ryan Newman. Normally we'd see Casey Kane being one of those guys that'd be on the very top of the racetrack, but he's really wanting to run the bottom and get by Ryan Newman because that's where his car seems to be working the best. Ryan's still just fast enough to keep him behind.
They're running fairly good lap times too. It's not like they're off the pace by any means, or like Newman's not holding him up. I think they're just very closely matched here.
I bet when Ryan Newman drives to the airport later today, he's going to look in his mirror and think he sees that 9 car behind him. He's been back there for about 45 minutes.
I'll bring up one thing. I don't know, as I watch these cars, it looks like Casey Kane's car is really good through the corners. He is running the older Dodge engine that by what they say doesn't have quite as much horsepower, so that may be keeping him from getting off the corner and down the straightaway and making this pass.
I saw one of the restarts early in the race where the 9 car really got killed getting up to speed, which is usually a sign of how much power you've got. I always like to watch the restarts and see how your car compares to other cars when you don't really put handling into play. It's just like a drag race when you take off.
You were talking about up to speed. Why don't we take everybody up to speed, starting with Jimmy Johnson, our leader, and Dave Burns.
And Doc, as they approach the window to pit for the final time, drivers are starting to give their crew chiefs information that they can use. Interesting thing from Jimmy Johnson was that he radioed that his car was a little free into center, but only on the first few laps of the run. So depending on how long the final run is, that may change how much Chad would want to adjust Jimmy at the end of this race. We heard from Steve Letarte, the crew chief for Jeff Gordon. Not sure if they've got the best car out there today. Jimmy's is still pretty good, but he will need to adjust to a car that's a little free on entry and a little loose on exit, guys. Right now, we have caution, Doc.
Debris on the racetrack, and that will bring out caution flag again for the 7th time of day. And now, Andy, 76 laps to go. They are inside their window for this being their final stop if we were to go green.
Yeah, that gets them just inside a fuel window. If they do that, it'll be a long run to the end on tires, but they can make it on fuel. So you'll see all the leaders pit here.
So you got to get what you can get this time.
This is it, man. Got to get it all right here. This is going to be the money stop.
We'll see if Jeff Gordon and Steve Letarte have been saving anything up, any tricks up their sleeves on this last adjustment.
There's Steve Letarte. Yeah, he's ready, man. He said, yeah, bring him in here. Let's go.
The free pass, by the way, will be the 31 car. Jeff Burton, he will be able to get back on the lead lap. That'll give us 18 cars on the lead lap. Well, what might be the final stop of the day, the money stop here on lap 325 as they come around. We're under caution for the 7th time. Debris on the racetrack. Going to try to dial them in and see if Jeff Gordon, Montoya, Martin. I'll tell you one thing. I bet Kurt Busch is excited to see this caution flag. He can get on pit road and get some adjustments on that 2 car that was so good for quite a while.
Yeah, Jeff Gordon's pit crew last time almost beat Jimmy Johnson's crew out. Let's see what can happen this time.
35 miles an hour. Here they come. Let's go down to Jamie Little.
Well, Mark Martin says he's too loose at the start of the run, too tight at the end, but Alan Gustafson said no changes. We can't risk it with so few laps remaining. 4 tires and fuel for the 5 car. Shannon?
Well, the car for Juan Pablo Montoya, he's describing it as snappy. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment. 4 tires, 1 can of Sunoco fuel for the 42. Dave.
Jeff Gordon's crew going to work on his car now. There will be just an air pressure adjustment for Jeff. As for Jimmy Johnson, the leader, just a quarter turn down on the track bar. A little bit of a longer stop. 4 tires Sunoco fuel for Johnson, and he will lead them off pit road again, guys. The crew is really picked up for Jimmy.
Jimmy Johnson's crew getting it done. The big loser there was the 24 car of Jeff Gordon.
Man, that's what you don't want. This pit stop was the money stop. Lost a ton of positions right there coming off the pit road.
Yeah, he's going to come out 7th after that, after going in 2nd. Make a big difference in how he has to drive this next segment.
Mark Martin sitting right there in 2nd spot. And Matt Kenseth, that crew right there is flat getting it done on pit road today.
Tony Stewart came out in 5th. Montoya's 4th.
People were talking about that 17 car being a factor after he was so good in final practice on Saturday. There is Matt Kenseth in the 17 car. The last 5 years in a row, at least one race here at Dover has been won by a Roush Fenway car. And they didn't win back in May, so their only option to keep that string alive is if somebody, if Kenseth would win this one here today.
Talk about the money stop. This is it right here. Let's see who was the fastest cruise off pit road. That 17 cars had some of the fastest pit stops. We're going to try to get together the times on the pit stop so we can see it.
While we have a break, why don't we visit with our in-race reporter, Tony Stewart, right now, who's being shown in the 5th position.
Tony, Dale Jarrett, you got me?
Yeah, ma'am.
Well, it looks like you've taken this car and moved it back towards the front. Have you got enough to get up to Jimmy Johnson?
I don't know. I haven't seen too much of him today, but you know, we've been able to run with the 17 here, and the 42 didn't seem like he was getting away from us too bad. We ran pretty close to the 5 there, so I hope so. I mean, we're working at it. Proud of our guys here. Proud of Darian and all the guys in this Burger King car. They've done an awesome job today getting this thing fixed where we could drive this thing back toward the front.
Hey, Tony, is the rubber buildup on the racetrack creating problems?
I don't believe so. I mean, it's kind of similar to what we have at Bristol on the exits right on the bottom there. So it's not, you know where it's at, and you just try to straddle it, but it's not I wouldn't say it's a huge issue. It picks it up here on the cautions, and we get it laid back down right after we go back to green.
All right, Smoke, thanks for talking. Good luck.
So he didn't think like he had too much for that 48 car up front for Jimmy Johnson. But he thought he could hang with the 17 car. Well, he made some adjustments. We heard him talking about air pressure adjustments. So we'll see what they got. Less than 75 laps ago here to the checkered flag at Dover.
That's really almost an unfair question to ask him because he's been battling his way back. He really doesn't know how good the 48 is, so he hadn't been able to judge from that, but thought we'd get his perspective on that. He may have a little bit more detail than us anyway.
Yeah, he can see Jimmy Johnson now.
Right now, he has actually gained a spot in the point standings. He's up a spot, the Kurt Busch up a spot, and so is Montoya. They are 3rd, 4th, and 5th in the chase points as of right now. The big loser right now in chase points would be that 11 car of Denny Hamlin, who's being shown 2 laps down in 22nd position. He would drop back to 7th in the standings. Side by side, double foul restart shootout style here at Dover, Delaware. Glad to have you with us. The 48 car is the leader. Jimmy Johnson, Mark Martin in 2nd spot.
This restart could be big for Mark Martin. He hasn't been very good on these restarts. He's going to have to get himself in position to where he doesn't lose too many spots if he's going to have a chance.
Montoya gets a big run off the corner. And so does Kenseth.
And here comes the 2 car also trying to get by. Kurt Busch. So Martin goes from 2nd to 5th in less than a lap.
Inside line, it's just so hard to get your car hooked up and do what you need to do on the low air pressures. That was unfortunate for Mark. See if he can battle back.
Matt Kenseth just a little bit slow off turn 2 now, and Kurt Busch gets a run.
Kurt Busch trying to get back underneath Kenseth for position. That's for 3rd spot. You see Mark Martin wanting to follow him by. There's Ryan Newman right behind Martin. Both Jimmy Johnson and Juan Pablo Montoya have pulled away by about 10 or 12 car lengths. This is a good battle back here. It's the 39 trying to inch in on the 5 car. And behind the 39 is his car owner and teammate Tony Stewart. Behind Stewart, you see the 33 car. We're starting to work over the rear of the 24. That is for position Clint Boyer and Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, just another one that struggled on the restarts a little bit. When he was actually starting 2nd up there and he was able to clear the traffic and just get in with Jimmy, he was able to run his line. But as he gets back in traffic, it's made it a little bit more difficult for him. I think it'll come to him if he just doesn't lose any more spots here.